Good evening everybody, welcome back to this little already tongue-tied. Good evening everybody, welcome to this little live stream. I hope you're all well. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm not actually expecting anybody to view this video. It's just kind of like a little practice live stream. It's something that I really want to try and get into doing in the future, is doing some live art tutorials, and like I really want to try and do some crafting tutorials, tutorials for like children and young people, and yeah, just basically doing a load of like live art streams. But I thought I'd kind of have a bit of a practice during this little live stream session, and yeah, just see how I go, because not gonna lie, I've just spent the last 2 or 3 hours trying to work out how to use the streaming software, which is not my forte. I'm not like a technical whiz kid at all, but I thought I'd try and give this a little bit of a go. I should probably sit and read some instructions about how to use Streamlabs, which is like the stream for doing little live streams, but I thought I'd just kind of jump in at the deep end and yeah, just have a bit of a practice go at doing a bit of live streaming. So I am planning on doing some drawing during this little live stream. In the future I'd kind of like to be a bit more like creative and stuff, and kind of do like some clay work and some sewing and some textiles and designing and printmaking, and like even making art out of Lego and stuff like that. But today I'm just going to keep it very very usual, and I think I'm just going to sit and do a little daily doodle, as I call them. So if you've been on this channel before, you will notice that I've kind of post like little YouTube shorts often of me painting little animals. I call them my little daily doodle because it's something that I do pretty much every warm up. I don't put too much pressure on myself to make them look amazing, and it kind of just gets me in the zone for painting. So I've decided today that I want to sit and paint a little chipmunk. I know that you are able to post a picture of the chipmunk that you're painting on the screen. To do that yet, as I say, not very good with technology. It's kind of a miracle that I've actually got to this point here, but I have got the image that I'm going to be painting on my little iPad, so I'm just going to quickly show you the image that I want to be painting. Well, so I'm just going, oh my god, it's all a mess. Hold on, I'm going to have to off these little tablets. There they go, tablets. There they go. Appear to be this one instead. So these are little mechanical. I just got them. I thought they were kind of magic mechanical pencils, because I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's like this little twisty bit here. I think just because they're very, puffins are very like remind me of like summertime and stuff. So yeah, I decided to paint a puffin today, but we are now going to sit and sketch out a nice little chipmunk. So the easiest way I think of drawing any kind of animal is to break it down into really really big shapes. So with this little chipmunk, I'm just going to basically start off with some very big shapes. So I'm going to start off with his main shape of his body and shape of his head, hint of a tail, couple of feet, so I'm going to do some triangles, a little bit of a hand, it really doesn't look like a chipmunk at all, but at the moment, but when I kind of break it down into more shapes, it will hopefully start emerging. So that's kind of just to kind of work out where it's going to be placed on the page. I might just kind of Sorry if this makes a load of racket. I might just move you in a little bit. Probably need to see if I can get a slightly better webcam, but this is all I could afford, so right. So I've kind of got, I'm just going to draw this on a bit darker so that you can see what I'm doing. So I've kind of got the basic shape and outline of where I want to put my chipmunk on the page. Just using some basic shapes, very rough sketchy lines, and I'm now going to kind of define these lines a little bit better. So I'm probably going to zoom in on my picture on my tablet. Just going to figure out where to start. I think I'm probably going to start with his face. So got the edge of his, like, where his neck is kind of near his arm. So I'm going to do like a little shape for his arm. And what I'm going to do is kind of use what is on the image to give his arm. Is it an arm on a chipmunk? Of course it is. That's a bit of a silly question. Now this little paw here kind of comes adjacent, so there's like a little bit of negative space here. Comes out. There we go. I do love a little chipmunk. They make kind of little cute things. I've never seen one in real life actually. Obviously I've seen a lot of squirrels and stuff, but I do think they're adorable little things. They're so cute and squidgy. Right, so he's got like a little top of his pattern marking just above his knee, but it doesn't go any higher than the same bit on his arm. Not too worried about being overly precise, because what I'm going to do when I come to paint it is I'm going to be using acrylic paints, and so acrylic paints, because they're quite like a thick consistency, it's quite easy to kind of cover up any errors and stuff. They're very opaque, so don't need to worry too much about getting every single thing right. And you'll find when I come to paint it, you'll probably find that his head will be end up like in a completely different angle and stuff like that, because there's something about when you come to paint things, when you start putting the light and shade on, you notice some different things about the shapes and stuff. But yeah, at the moment I'm just currently just breaking down some of the shapes that I'm seeing to give me a hint of a little chipmunk. So his knee, I think that's like the top of his knee here, doesn't really come that much past this. So if I do a pretend like diagonal line, or if I like draw like an imaginary diagonal line, you'll see it doesn't really come out much further than that. And then his top of his other leg, if I draw another pretend diagonal line, again doesn't really come out much further than the bottom of his like mouthy chinny bit. The moths seem to have gone away now, which is quite good. Matthew and what else? What other name begins with M? Marge. Oh no. I spoke far too soon. See, moth is in my tea. Oh, I'm sorry, little fella. I don't know if I fancy drinking my tea now. Damn. I'll have to have some water instead. Oh, poor little guy. Right. So that he's got like a little toe on his foot, and that doesn't come out too much past his knee. And the tip of his like pawry bit doesn't come too much past this bit. They do have really big feet for being cute little chipmunky things. So the side of his head kind of starts coming in there. I'm sorry if you can hear the whirring noise on my laptop. It's quite an old laptop, so to be honest I think it might be struggling a little bit with doing this live stream, but I gotta work out if I can somehow play some music whilst doing a live stream. Obviously I've got to try and find some copyright ones as well, or copyright free ones, but yeah, that's all gonna have to be something that I figure out gradually. Oh, my little puppy door's come in. Hold on, I just need to go close my bedroom door. Hello, Ram. Good boy. Yeah, what are you doing? Good boy. You wanna go outside? Right, just going to quickly go and let my little Ralphie out. So hold on, let me figure out. There we go. We'll be back once I've let Ralphie outside for a bit. I'm back. Also just got myself a little Magnum. Right, hold on. Right, so where was I? Let's get the ear drawn in. Another ear. Again, I don't want it to go too high, because so if I line it up with the back of his body, I don't know if it's a he actually, it could be a she. Female chipmunk. I think I always think of chipmunks as being boys because of that, what is it, Alvin and the Chipmunks? Theodore! And the one who isn't Theodore. Oh god, what are the names of all the chipmunks? Alvin, Theodore. What's the other one? Am I going to have to search out what their names are? I might have to. I know, Simon. Right, so just gotta figure out where this little chipmunk's eye is. So I'm gonna presume his head is curved like this. Sorry, I shouldn't really be eating a Magnum on live stream, but it's been really hot today, which quite frankly I am quite happy. Usually I hate hot weather but I'm quite happy about it because at least it's not raining, because it has been very rainy recently. But I think my plants are quite liking the rain, so but yeah, it's been quite nice having a few sunny days. Hopefully tomorrow I can get out and do a bit of drawing out in the garden. Right. I don't want to spend too much longer sketching this out because I've still got to paint it and stuff. And as I say, when I start painting it, it'll probably end up changing shape quite a bit anyway. This is more just to kind of work out where it lays on the page. God, he's got a long old tail. Gonna have to use up this bit. So in case you're wondering, the sketchbook that I'm using is an Ahoo sketchbook. I do quite like these sketchbooks because they are quite like thick paper. If I give it a wobble. Don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, it's very thick paper, which means that it can withstand quite a lot of different media. I think they're actually meant to be used for Ahoo markers, and the reason why they are quite so, and like and Ahoo markers are like alcohol markers, but I think the idea is that it's quite thick paper so that you don't get the bleed through when you're using the Ahoo. I can't say them. Ahoo markers. I'm not going to make this tail too long, let's finish it about here. But I do quite like using them for acrylics and all sorts of different medium, because this sketchbook is very good at withstanding quite a lot of different liquids and stuff like that, which is very good if you want to use things like watercolour, because you can cope with like water and different layers and stuff like that. Let me just doubly check that's where I want to put his eye. what I'd love to do at one point, and in fact I'm actually going to start doing them in like little separate videos, is creating like little cartoon characters inspired by the different animal studies that I've done. So I'm planning on this week filming a separate video where I basically start going through the whole alphabet, or obviously not all in one video, but like, so the video that I want to film this week is looking at animals that begin with the letter A, and then doing like studies of them and then turning them into little characters, maybe have their own little stories. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and focus on getting done this week, as well as a few other little projects that I've got going on. I do also this week really want to knuckle down and focus on setting up getting my, I want to set up getting children's art and craft club set up in my local area. So I need to kind of start looking a bit more into that. I did start looking at it like beginning of March time, but I got kind of hindered by like finances and the cost of it and stuff like that. But I'm gonna have another go at kind of looking at what I need to do to set up my own little children's art and craft club, because I'd like to do things like printmaking with children and making jewellery and playing with clay and obviously drawing and illustrating and trying to do a bit of textile, maybe some felting and stuff like that. So obviously I've now got my little chipmunk all nicely sketched out. Like I say, it's probably going to change shape quite a bit in a minute when I come to painting it, so I think, sorry, got another mouthful of Magnum. I think I am now ready to actually start painting it. So it's taken me ages to eat this Magnum. Right, so I think I'm going to use some acrylic paint to paint it. What I'm probably going to start off by doing first is painting like a nice colourful background on it. Now if I look at the actual reference photo on my little tablet, let me just show you it again. So yeah, if I look at my little reference photo on this little tablet, you can see that it's got kind of like a grey blue type of background to it. So I think I'm going to mix up a similar colour, although I might make it a little bit lighter, because I think it looks quite nice against all like the little yellows of his fur and stuff and the browns. But yeah, it might end up being a bit more lighter and perhaps a bit more purplier maybe. But yeah, I'm just going to mix up a nice little background colour and then we'll go from there. So let me get out a little couple of little paint palettes. I have been painting today, so they are a little bit mucky already, but they'll be alright for this. So I am going to use some Royal Lagnickel acrylic paint. This is in primary cyan. Not very good with names of paints. Blue. And put some blue in. Just drop the lid on the floor, that's helpful maybe. I'm going to use a cardamom red, or should I use we'll use the cardamom one, it's alright. I've got like a primary, like a pinky rose red as well, but we'll go for this one. It is only for the background colour, so it's alright. Might need a tiny bit of black, but probably won't need a lot, but I'll just put some in anyway. Bit of white. I do have a slightly stronger white, like a more pigmented white, which I'll probably use in a bit, but I'll just use this white for the background. And I might just put a bit of green in, but we'll see what the colour turns out like. Right. Okie dokie. Let me get some paintbrushes. Where's my big one? Might just need to go and grab the big one. Hold on. Now what I am going to do is nick some of the water out of my water bottle, because I kind of want to make like a wash of colour, because if I put the paint on directly as like thick as it is, what will end up happening is it'll cover up all the pencil lines that were just sat there drawing. So I still want to be able to see them a little bit. I don't have to see all of them, but just going to pour them into a little bit of the palette. Ooh, that could have been disastrous. Just means that I can water down my paint a little bit and use it as a wash. So let's put a bit of blue, tiny bit of red, going to need quite a bit of white. Mix it in with some water to get it nice and washy. Right. Do I want to add a bit of black in? Probably a tiny bit. Okay. Maybe a bit of green. Yeah, that's the kind of colour that I want. Right. Just going to put a bit more white into it. Not white, water. Same letter. Right, so I'm just going to do a wash of colour over the sketch, and hopefully I've watered it down enough so that I can still see the lines. I think I have just about. Yeah. Right. was definitely a mistake eating this Magnum. Right, it's gone. If it is dried a bit now as well. Yep, that has. Right. So now I'm going to grab like an extra thin paintbrush. And I'm just going to mix up like a little bit of black and red. I'm going to put it in so that I have a very watery kind of mix, because what I'm now going to do is kind of basically redraw over the lines that I've already drawn, but also as I go along kind of correct them at the same time. So I kind of want my paint to be quite liquidy. Right, so I'm going to start with the eye. I'm just going to kind of do the outline again, but just kind of doubly check that everything is in the right place. And if it isn't, I'm going to change the shape of it. Oh no, the moths are back. That's what I get for painting at night time. Right. Just gonna move this palette over here. There we go. Alright, so I'm also, when I'm kind of painting over the lines this time, I'm going to try and add a bit more information that I didn't add when I was painting it, well, or when I was drawing it in pencil. You're very distracting, Mr. Moth. Oh my god, there's like loads of them. It's because I've got the light on. Don't go into the light. I can't help it. It's so beautiful. Right. So yeah, I'm going to add a little bit. Well, as I start sketching this out, I'm going to pay a bit more focus to like some of the markings, because I think especially with chipmunks they've got all like the little stripy bits on them which make them look extra cute. Slightly look like they're ninjas. Could end up doing like a little ninja chipmunk. I wonder what his name would be if he was a ninja chipmunk. Right, so yeah, I'm just paying a bit more attention to like how the shape of the ear is, because when I originally sketched it, obviously I just kind of sketched like a egg shape, but when you look more closely it's actually got quite a few like indents and stuff on it, so it's not like it's not kind of like a perfect shape. It's got bits of like it that come in, go out and stick out a bit more and stuff like that. Got a little light reflection in the pupil. Again, when I come to actually blocking out the colour, the shape of like the pupil dot will change, but yeah. So thinking about for like future videos and stuff like that, I wonder what type of things people would like to like watch being painted, or like what kind of hints and tips and stuff would you like to be shown. I mean, obviously I'm not an expert, but I'm willing to kind of do little tutorials. And what kind of stuff would you like to know about how to do different paintings? I mean, obviously I don't just do paintings, I also like to do textile design and printing and stuff like that. So if there's anything you kind of want me to do like a live stream on or a video on, please just kind of let me know. It feels weird saying things like that because as I say, I'm not like an expert, but it's something I want to get into doing, especially teaching children and young people. I'd like to, as I said earlier on, I want to kind of focus on setting up a children's art and craft club in my local area, and I'd like to kind of start doing art and craft sessions like on live stream and filming separate videos and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know what kind of type of things you would like me to cover. It does look like it's going to be quite a nice warm week this week. I would like to try and get out and do a bit of drawing in the garden. I'm actually as well at the moment trying to kind of write my own little poems and stories and stuff. So I'd kind of like to sit and perhaps do some writing and character design and stuff out in the garden. Okay. So as you can see, I'm gradually working out the placement of some of the patterns and markings on this little chipmunk's face. Because they're obviously one of the most distinctive things about a chipmunk is all of the little white stuff. I don't know, are they related to squirrels? I presume there's some kind of relation to squirrels somewhere along the lines. Don't know. Yes, I just realised I'm sticking my tongue out. Okay. Let's figure out what's going on with this little hand. I am going to have to end up naming this little chipmunk because all of my little animals that I study have to end up with little individual names. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on with his paws. Not going to lie, hate painting animal feet, always have done. Human feet and animal feet, absolutely hate painting. A little bit creeped out by feet anyway, so that's probably why. You're a tiny little thing. Tiny little feet though, aren't you? Why is he holding in his hand? It must just be some kind of nut. So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm still kind of using other areas on the image to kind of give me clues as to where to place different things and kind of lining different bits and pieces up. Let's get his other paw in. So yeah, his paw doesn't come out any further than his nose and stuff like that. These two fingers have joined together. Okay. It's really weird doing this without any backing music on. I really need to kind of work out whether I can play music and stuff and how to play it on the streaming system. Yeah, because usually when I'm doing painting and illustrating and stuff, I can tend to have stuff on in the background. I know a lot of people say you probably shouldn't do that because it kind of takes away from your concentration, but for me it kind of helps me concentrate more because I then don't get distracted by things. But yeah, I tend to usually listen to or watch YouTube when I'm sitting working. Tend to be more of a watcher than a listener though. I don't really listen to music quite as much when I'm working. It tends to just, I like to have different things to focus on, so I tend to sit and watch like different YouTube videos, like not all arty crafty ones. So I do watch a few art videos, like I like watching Furry Little Peach and Catnip, and a few others. Completely lost what I was talking about then. Oh yeah, what I listen to. I do sometimes listen to podcasts when I'm working, but not very often. Not gonna lie, I find podcasts too distracting. I kind of have to have, I've got like, I think it's what you call a monkey brain, where I kind of have to know what's going on. So like if I watch a film when I'm working, I kind of watch a film that I've watched a million times before, because it's kind of a way of like being able to watch something without having to pay too much attention to what's going on, because I already know what's happening. So yeah, not gonna lie, I'm already getting in the mood for watching Christmas films. I do like watching a good old Christmas film when I'm doing arty stuff. I mean, at the moment I'm now starting to think of things to make and videos to record for Christmas, so I'm getting into a bit of a Christmassy spirit, even though it's only just now getting hot and we're only now just getting summer. I'm already kind of watching and here's definitely starting to look more like a chipmunk, which is a good sign. Hasn't actually, usually when I sit and do these sketches it goes through like an ugly stage. It hasn't done that yet. It's still got time to do that, but yeah, usually when I'm working on any kind of painting there is a stage where I'm like, oh my god, I want to give up on it, it's gone horribly wrong, don't know how I'm going to rescue it. But no, today it seems to be going alright so far. I didn't know what direction that song was going in when I started singing that. Just randomly started humming a tune. Right. Definitely getting there now with sketching everything out. It's quite a prolonged way of doing these studies, the way I do it, where I sketch out in pencil first and then paint over it and then sketch it out again. But it kind of goes by that saying where do it, I can't remember what the saying is now, but do it once, what is the saying? Check it once, do it twice. What? Check it. I don't know. Don't know where I was going with that. If you check it twice, I don't know what the saying is. I know in my head what the saying is, but I don't know what the saying is. Like unplugged from the Matrix. This little chipmunk definitely needs a name. I also, one of my little nephews would have by now just told me to draw a top hat on him as well. But yeah, it's coming up to the summer holidays now, so I hope if I get a bit more practiced at doing these little live streams and stuff, that I might do a few little like live art and craft sessions with children, especially on the rainy days during the summer holidays. Give them like a little activity to do, draw along session maybe. Obviously during them I'd have to kind of describe what I'm doing a bit more, but I mean, I don't even know if the audio is working on this. I could be sitting here talking to myself. I probably am sitting here chattering on, but there we go. Right, let me just get his front foot in, or paw. Once again, I hate drawing feet. If I can get away with not drawing paws and feet, I would, but there we go. Oh. Oh my god, you're a massive moth. I'm not happy about you. Not happy about that moth at all. Don't like the way that they dove bomb at my head. It's like I'll be getting ready for bed, ready to go to sleep later on, and it'll just be sitting there ready to pounce on me. Right. Getting there now. Just gonna get the shape of these little markings on his back, okay? Because I didn't draw them properly when I was originally sketching it out. Again, because I'm using acrylic paint, I'm not actually too worried about getting all of the placements of every single line right, because if I do need to cover up a bit later on when I'm actually properly painting it, because acrylic paint is so pigmented and thick and stuff, it will quite really easily cover up. Obviously if I was doing this like in watercolour, watercolours tend to be a bit more transparent, so obviously any pencil marks and any mistakes and stuff that you make underneath tends to show through a bit more. But the good thing about acrylic paints is that tends to not be quite as much of an issue. Gouache or wash, or however you pronounce it, it's kind of like halfway between the two, so some people do quite like using it. I tend to not use it as much. I think I have a bit of a habit of sticking to kind of what I know, and acrylic is kind of like my go-to. But I think if I do a few more of these like live streams and stuff, I might try and experiment with some art materials that I don't use quite as often, maybe like oil paints, chalk pastels and stuff like that, because sometimes you get some different effects. And you'll see later on that when I come to finishing off adding detail to Mr. Chipmunk here, that I'll end up probably using some water soluble pencils, just because it kind of allows you to add a bit more texture and detail and stuff like that. Right, we are nearly getting there for sketching out this little chipmunky fellow. Just gonna hint at where his tail is. So it hasn't changed too much in shape from when I originally sketched it, and there's a few little bits where I've decided to kind of like lower it or make his feet a bit wider, but that's just where I've been looking at what I've already drawn and making decisions. Okay, that is that stage of it done. Okay, now it's time to start bringing it to life with a little bit of paint and a little bit of colour. I think I might just switch out my brush to a slightly less thin one. So I really need to wash out some of these paint brushes. I'll do it first thing tomorrow morning. I have to, like, not gonna lie, I'm a bit lazy when it comes to washing out paint brushes. I should do it more often, but I think the trouble is because I use them so often, I just kind of like put up with it. Right, did I get any yellow paint out? No, I did not, and I'm definitely going to need it. So let me get out my trusty yellow paint. And I think what I might do as well, whilst I'm getting out paint, is use, instead of using the Royal Langnickel white paint, I'm going to use my trusty Liquitex basic acrylic titanium white paint, just because it's got a little bit more like a stronger pigment to it, so it will end up being a lot brighter on the background. Although, where am I going to squeeze it? Oh no, I won't put it in that one because I'll end up with like a load of blue on it. I really should have washed out my paint palette. I was promised next time I do a live stream I will try and have some clean paint palettes. It's only because I've been painting all day anyway and I couldn't be bothered. Right. What paintbrush am I going to use? I did say I was going to switch paintbrush, but I might actually just stick to the thin one. Right. I'm going to use a mixture of these two, so I've got a really thin paintbrush and then a slightly thicker one. They are just round paintbrushes, they're not like anything expensive either, they're kind of like the cheapest that I could find on Amazon, to be honest. This is a newer pack, but I've got quite a few of the old ones and they just work quite nicely. Right, so because it's got quite a dark background on it, I think I'm gonna start off working on the really light areas. So I'm going to use my white Liquitex acrylic and yeah, just focus on the really white lighty bits. I'm just going to block out the colour because I can always work in with a bit more detail later on, but I just want to work out where all the light bits are and then we'll go from there. So this bit here is very white, but then it starts going into a bit more of a yellowy colour, which if I mix with some of the white, I don't want it to be too darker yellow. And then I'm just going to add in a bit of red with the yellow. But I don't want it to come too orange, so I'm going to add quite a bit of yellow to it. Maybe a bit of this reddy black colour just to kind of give it a bit more of a browny colour rather than an orange. Bit more white and a little bit of green, like a little dash. Because I don't want it, as I said, I don't want it to be orange, I want it to be a bit more subtle. I'm probably going to just test it out on my hand. I tend to do that a lot, that's why my hands end up being all filthy and covered in paint. Yeah, right. Okay. At the moment I'm just focusing more on actually blocking out the colour rather than too much like 3D or anything like that. That can always come a little bit later on. Okay. Just going to add a bit of It's just underneath the paw. Okay, because he's got like a little dark marking around that bit. You'll notice actually when I'm doing a lot of type of animal paintings, I tend to not actually wash my brush off that much. Not gonna lie, part of this is probably laziness, but I do also find that it helps with like blending some of the colours and the fur colours together. So sometimes it helps to have a little bit of the last colour that I just used left on the paintbrush to make some of the blends in colour a bit more subtle, kind of hinting at fur. Don't know if I explained that very well, but yeah, that's kind of the reason. So yeah, it is a mixture of like, I should probably wash out my paintbrush more is what I'm trying to say, but it's kind of works for me the way that I do it. Okay, this bit here is quite a light area, so I'm just going to add a bit more white. And again, and then this bit on top of the knee is very white here. But also I'm going to mix a little bit of blue into it. Especially near the bottom. Also, the great thing about doing acrylic paints is that you can layer colours on top of each other, so if you don't quite get the right colour first of all, it's not anything to really worry about, because you can carry on layering colours. I don't know what happened to my accent. Okay, so yeah, I'm just really focusing on blocking out areas of colour. Trying to mix a bit more green into a bit of the yellow. Lovely. I'm going to add a bit more red into that colour that I just mixed, and a bit more dark, because it does get quite dark towards the bottom of the little chipmunk's leg. So let's do that. Don't mind having a bit of a splash of, that's obviously quite a big splash of red, but I don't mind having a bit of a splash of red in there, because it helps bring the character to life a little bit. I can always tone down the amount of red in a minute. Okay. Bit more yellow in. Lovely. I'm not going to use a straight black, but I just want to mix a bit of blue and black together with a bit of the red, just to get this really dark bit at the bottom of the chipmunk's bum. Okay. Again, mix a bit of blue and black together to start getting these markings in. Lovely. So if I was to kind of make like a character design out of the little chipmunk, it's kind of the bits that I'd be looking for is like, what kind of shape of his head could I exaggerate? So he's got quite like a pointy face, so it might be that I kind of make his nose a bit pointier. He's got quite a fluffy body, so maybe make his body really fluffy. But yeah, that might be like something that I do on a live stream. Sorry, I've got hiccups. That might be something that I end up doing like on a live stream, like at a later date, where I study an animal and then try and change it into like a book character. or I'd quite like to eventually at one point change like a character or a study that I've done into like a little felted animal or something. Got lots of ideas. It just happens the time to do some. Very, very bright white mark there. Well, I will tone that down a little bit because that's gone a little bit too white, but we can always turn that down in a minute. I really quite like the yellows against the dark blue. It makes me happy. It pleases me. And the good thing is, where I've put quite a lot of effort into actually sketching out the basic shape of the animal first, the actual painting of the animal isn't taking too long. Oh, go away, Mr. Moth. Make this a bit more blue, that one a bit pink. Don't know why I started humming that song. Give me all in my lamp, keep me burning. Ready. Do 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 do. Yeah, so definitely getting some of the colours blocked out a little bit now. Obviously I need to work on the face because he hasn't got one at the moment, but it's coming along. I'm just going to do this really dark patch underneath his face. I can always make it a bit darker than that if I want to. I've got that song stuck in my head and I don't know why. Right, let's do some of the white bits around the ear and the eye. A little blobby bit there. And there. A bit more around this bit. put a bit of blue into that because it's not quite, especially this bit here is a bit bluier. And there. Give me your mind. Needs to be a bit yellower at the top of his hair. Okay, a bit more around this bit. Okay. Oh, coming along, my little chipmunky friend. He definitely needs a name. Doesn't look like a Colin. It's a bit more like mischievous than a Colin. Are you a mischievous little fellow? Oh god, that's a bright pink. I still need to tone that down in a minute. A bit more white into it, maybe a bit more blue, and hopefully that'll calm down a bit. Yeah, it's a bit better. Really should not have eaten that magnum earlier. My tummy keeps on rumbling. Not rumbling, but gurgling. Oh, I need to sing a different song. I was doing my nutting. I'm annoying myself by singing the same song. Right. Gonna change brush to the really thinner one to block out the colour of his eye. So underneath his eye's got like this little rimmy bit. Then a little dot. Actually another few little dots, but I'll probably add that in once I've added some blue. Okay. and then I'm going to gradually darken it up. Right. He's got the little eyeball so that he can see. He's got a little eyeball and he's going up the T. Oh, rinky dinky ding. Oh, rinky dinky dinky. I think I'm getting hiccups. Do 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 do. And mix up like a bit of a greeny colour for his back leg here, because I want to make sure that it's pushed back. It's actually a bit light at the moment. Make it a bit more darker. There we go, it's better. Okay, a bit more black. Again, I'm not actually using the black straight, I'm kind of mixing it with a bit of the blue and the red and the green. Make this bit a bit wider. When I add a bit more fur detail in, that bit will hopefully sort itself out a little bit more. Okay, let's get this hand. So this, I don't know what he's holding, but I presume it's a nut, but it's quite dark. And then his paws in contrast are very white. Okay. That bit is quite white. Lovely. You may notice every so often I kind of put the brush through my fingers like that. That's mainly just to kind of get the shape of the brush back to normal, because sometimes when you're using it, it was like splurge out. So if you want like a really thin point, I kind of just brush it between my fingers, and then it gets back to having a little thin point on it. Right. Time to paint his feet. I hate painting animal feet. Do you need feet, Mr. Chipmunk? I think you probably do. Right, just gotta get. I'm making this. I've made his back foot slightly too fat, so I'm just gonna ignore that line and paint that bit there. I'm actually quite proud, because usually when I paint, I'm a bit like like all over the place. So I'll like paint a bit here and then paint a bit there and then go there and then go there. But today I've actually been quite methodical, which is unusual for me. I need to stop singing that song. It's driving me up a wall. Don't even know why I'm singing it. You may notice that I spend quite a lot of time looking at the iPad. That is mainly just because I'm just figuring out where everything is. I mean, obviously you can draw things from imagination. There's nothing wrong with drawing things from imagination, but if you're looking at a reference, it's really handy to kind of constantly keep referring to it, because your brain will kind of make up things that are not there. Or at least mine does anyway. Right, let's just get this tail painted. I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush. So he's got quite a yellowy bit there. Slightly more orangey bit there. I can always correct these colours a little bit later on. Bit of brown. Okay. And we're just gonna And then we're just going to put a little bit of blue. It's got kind of like a blue top to his tail. Shouldn't have started this live stream so late at night. My eyes are starting to go a little bit. I just wanted to give it a go and have a bit of a practice. Fade in and Right, I am back. Got a new cup of tea which doesn't have a moth in it now. I'm basically just ready to add some little bits of detail to this little chipmunk friend. So, just put my paintbrushes in the water so they don't go all hard. That is the only issue with acrylic paint, is that if you leave your paintbrushes out they will dry quite quickly and go quite hard. So I'm just reaching myself some pencils. When inked stage is where I kind of add stuff in a bit more fur in, so yeah, I tend to go a little bit more scribbly. So I'm going to make a little bit more fluffy, because he is a cute little fluffy fella, aren't you? Oh, so cute and fluffy. Especially on the tail. Try and indicate where some toes are. I'm not going to spend too much more longer on adding detail to this, because he is only meant to be a quick little practice doodle about just to practice doing a bit of live streaming. So yeah, I'm basically just adding a few scribbly lines just to hint at some fur. If I was doing a more detailed picture, I'd probably focus on like what direction of, like, I'm drawing my lines in and stuff like that, but I just kind of want to hint at fur rather than spending forever. Adding detail, there wasn't into that sentence. Definitely need to darken up a little bit of this ear and this bit here. Add some texture to this bit. And swap to a yellowy colour, and again just hint that kind of where fur is. Bit of orange. And add a bit of orange into the white bit. And because these are such vibrant pencils, I'm going to work on some of the black, just add a bit of fur detail, because they wouldn't be smooth black lines, so I'm going to have like hints of different colour. Okay, probably need to do some along the tail. quite wiry tails. Lovely. Going to make some of these lines on the towel a bit more wiry, because they definitely do have slightly wiry tails. Lovely. Getting very close to being finished now, I think. So what I'm just going to do is grab my thinner paintbrush and just spend a bit of time adding some highlights. And some light fur lines. And actually what is great is when you use white acrylic paint with the water soluble pencils, as it will pick up a little bit of the colour underneath, so it won't go down as like a bright white, it will just go down as like a lighter shade of the pencil. So it picks up, for example here where I've just laid down some of the orange, it's picking up a little bit of the orange and making the white not quite as bright, which is good because we want a bit of difference. Cup of tea is definitely better without a mop in it. Obviously if I was spending a bit more time on this, I'd kind of really look at the picture and focus on the direction of the fur and kind of look at the way that like fur will behave differently around different muscles and stuff like that, but I am running out of steam now. So I'm just gonna add a few little hints of and then this little chipmunky fella will be close to being done. It's also really hot in this room tonight. It's a bit more along the tail. Definitely feel like I kind of neglected the tail today, but never mind. Gonna make some of his white marking stand out a little bit more. some little hints of wispy fur on his tail. I might tone down some of that white in a minute actually. Basically just by colouring over the top of it. Spread it out a bit. Just going to use a black Sharpie pen just to really darken out a little bit of the eye. And just around his nose. So yeah, I'm just going to grab my little Inktense pencil and just colour over some of the white marks, just to tone them down a bit. So it kind of tones it down whilst keeping the fur texture. One thing I say about the artwork that I do is it's all about just layers and building up texture. So you kind of add white bits in and then you tone it down and add more white bits in and tone it down, just carry on layering upon layer until you get the desired look that you want. And that I think is going to do for tonight. I dare zoom in. Hold on. Right, I think that's about as far as I'm going to zoom in, but yeah. This is my little chipmunk. I think he looks like a Charlie. So let me just add a little bit more. That's my trouble, is I always find more bits of pieces to add detail to. Add a bit more fur to his back. That black pen is running out. Make this bit of his tail a bit darker. And there we have it, my little chipmunk friend. He's definitely called Charlie. I figured that out. He's been a little forager chipmunk. I don't know what he's eating, but he's eating something. But yeah. Charlie the chipmunk. My first live stream buddy. Right, so thank you for watching if you did end up watching this at any point. Yeah, hopefully now that I've got kind of used to how this old live streaming stuff works, I can plan out a few more and hopefully get into the swing of doing some like tutorials and some sketch with me and some craft with me, and yeah, just hopefully get into the swing of doing some other live streams. I am also in the middle of filming a little art video as well, so hopefully if I get my bum and gear that will come out on this channel soon. I'm going to get back into doing studio vlogging, and I do also have some other videos that I've already filmed that I need to get on with editing. So yeah, there's going to be hopefully a lot more stuff going on in this channel over the next few weeks and months. But yeah, if you have any types of if you've got any kind of like questions or any types of videos you'd like to see from me, then please let me know, and I will hopefully oh, what is going on? Nope, don't want that one.